Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the boxing fight of the century. In the blue corner, in his yellow overalls, we have Roman, don't care who I hit on track, Grosjean. And in the red, white, and blue corner, we have Graham, don't touch my car, Rahal. Let's get ready to rumble. And now for a quick word from our sponsors.
This race review is presented by the American Monoposto Championship, the most entertaining sim racing league today. Maybe, don't believe me? Check us out on YouTube. But now, let's get to the race review.
Yes, the American Monoposto Championship is the best sim racing and most exciting sim racing league in the world, because if they weren't, would we accept them as sponsors? I don't think so. No. We're very picky about our sponsors, as you can tell from the plethora of sponsors that we've had before the American Monoposto Championship. They're great. Love them. American Monoposto Championship. Check them out. Subscribe to their channel. Follow the Sim League. They're great. But that's it from me. The rest of the review's just going to be Stephen, because someone won.
He's done it. He's just the greatest of all time. And championship's basically over. Pato's dominance. That's all I have to say. Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If I don't do this bit, you like and subscribe. Keep racing.
Right. No. We can't just stop. It was another good race. We can't just stop on Pato.
Why? Nothing else happened.
We'll come on to that intro a little bit later in the review. But first, I think we probably should address the elephant in the room in the fact that we've been missing for a couple of weeks.
We got abducted by aliens. And it's a really cool story. You can check it out on Indy Fanatics, new channel launching soon.
Yeah, no, actually, I was driving along on the road, and funny story is I came across Roman Grosjean, and I've been sorting that out for it. I said, hang on a minute, if you're going to let that stand and make us miss videos, I'll tell you what, when we start making videos, you better penalise Grosjean for it. He shouldn't be allowed to make YouTube videos when we're not making YouTube videos. Oh my God, this was a funny podcast. Right, okay. Stephen was on holiday. I've been frantic at work. I'll be honest. So I started a new job. I'm now in car sales, from going from a cricket coach to a personal trainer. But I'm also having to do some of my cricket coaching and personal training for at least 3 nights a week. And that's been kind of a hectic juggling act. By July, it will be a steady schedule, but we should, fingers crossed, be able to get at least 1 video a week from now on. But obviously we'll have 2 videos this week because we're in the month of May, because we've got the Indy Road Course next weekend. So we'll be doing a review today, which you guys are watching, and then we'll be doing a preview for the Indy Road Course race coming out on Wednesday. Thank you for your patience. We really do appreciate it. I know we went to live stream the race yesterday, but Wi-Fi went wrong. I was like, when things just keep going wrong? That was the situation. But now it's the month of May. They're going to keep going right, I think. Should probably talk about some racing. Thank you for the patience. We're 100 off 5,000. Maybe, actually, we should have said that the 2 weeks was actually you going, we didn't get 5,000.
We shut down.
We're
at Pato won, so we're back.
We couldn't hold him back. He's like, I don't care. Pato won. We're back. Make a video. Right, let's talk about the race. We won't do a rundown today because I don't have time to do graphics, so it's probably a little boring. Listen to me just kind of read out as we go. We might talk about the top 10 as we go, but we'll do our winners and losers. We'll probably do a little look at fantasy, because check out this guy predicting the podium. Will Power coming on a late charge. And seems like maybe Will Power can get a podium after this. And I'm like, no, Don't do it, Will. I need these fantasy points because the rest of the team wasn't particularly great. I guess, yeah, that'll come later on in the video. Pato won. You were very happy. Pato, great drive. Has to be said. Superb drive from him. That's probably a good point to start.
Wait, was that the rest of the video?
Yeah, that's the rest of the video.
Winners and losers. Fantasy, I did great. Pato won.
Yeah, that's it. That's the video. I don't know. Yeah. As always, that's the vague plan, but we'll go off on some random tangents.
General thoughts.
That's what we do.
General thoughts. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic first road course race of the season. Lots of action. We had a change of the lead. We had a battle for the lead. And then battles throughout.
And change of a lead in the championship.
Yeah. For the third time in 4 races.
Yep. They were very keen to say that on commentary, although our commentary kept on getting stuffed. I don't know about you guys in the US, but ours kept on losing, and Tom was like, I have to speak now. I wasn't planned for this. What do I do? Just me alone. Racing's good. Yay. No, Tom did a good job filling in for it. But Pato, it was a strong race. The overall race of Barber, I agree. I liked it as a race. And Barber, you always expect, because of the style of track it is, there's no real heavy braking zones. It's quite a flowing track, quite a technical track for the drivers. It's never going to be stacked full of overtakes.
Yeah.
But there was plenty of action to talk about on track throughout the field and contact together as well. My arm! Oh, we'll come on to that later. No. Right, but yes, we'll talk about probably the top 3. Young guns, part of the next generation.
Of course, yes. At podium.
Pato winning on the last round of pit stops, came out just behind Rinus VK, went for an ambitious but calculated move, nailed the execution of it, and that was where he won the race.
Yeah.
Basically. Palou, VK just didn't have the pace in that final stint, so
the
the
thing
lead
with
in the
VK
majority
was, of course, he forgot to use his push to pass. He said he was too focused on his mirrors on that last vital overtake from Pato that he forgot to use his push to pass to defend.
Wow. But you know,
his pace did drop off.
His pace did drop off anyway because Palou also overtook him. No, did he?
Yeah, that was in the pits. That was
in the pits. His in-lap and out-lap of Alex Palou on that last stint was incredible. And again, you know, in key moments, Alex Palou just delivers over and over again. And hello, Palou is now the championship leader again. We said, no, not a Scooby. This guy's going to win the championship 2 years in a row. That's so difficult. Well, I guess the last bloke to do it was Dario Franchitti, and he was the number 10 Chip Ganassi car. So maybe history will repeat itself. But you have to say, all 3 of them drove fantastic races. And if VK had got the win for Ed Carpenter Racing, the pole position in itself was superb, had brilliant race. He led the majority of the race. It's tough because Arrow McLaren are further ahead in the Ed Carpenter Racing train than where VK is, although he said he believes the car and where the team are is much better than at the start of last season, which is really positive.
Yep.
Which he secured his last winner, and it's a great result going into one of his favourite places, the IMS road course, and loves the Indy 500 as well. But obviously he's got his first podium, pole and win at the IMS road course. You're certainly probably going to be expecting him to challenge there. But Palou did Palou things.
Just emerged from the pits in second place, and I was like, what? This guy was in 5th. He was struggling. And then he just pulls out a mega in-lap.
He had a poor start, didn't he? And then I think on the caution restart, he fell back as well. So, like you said, he ended up 5th. But this is the thing. Alex Palou never lets lets things bother him in the race. And this is why he's quickly becoming, well, he already is one of the best drivers in the series, but I think he's quickly becoming one of the most recognised brilliant drivers within the series, because you look at the brilliance of Herta. He had incredible pace at stages in that race, but again, another mistake drops in. You just don't see mistakes from Alex Palou. And this is only his third full-time season in the series. He was a champion in his second one, and as things are going, he's been there or thereabouts all season. He hasn't got a win yet, but boy, is he just been so consistent.
Yeah, for sure. He's just, Do we touch on Colton Herta? Because this like the new young generation is kind of the Pato, Palou, VK, who all ended up on the podium, and then Colton Herta, who spun out when fighting for P5 and ended up in P10. Yeah. Didn't he come home with?
It was difficult for Herta because, well, I think, look, let's give Pato as much credit as he's... I know we've spoken about that, but it was an incredible drive from Pato, and it was incredible maturity. He obviously got pole position in the first race of the season at Barber last year, but strategy kind of did him in last year. That meant that I think he did manage to get fourth. Did he come back to? Because I think it was a podium of Palou, Dixon, Power from memory last year.
Yeah.
With Pato chasing down at the end. But, you know, the strategy didn't work on the 3-stopper, and he learnt this year. He went on the 2-stopper, and that definitely worked, because the 3-stoppers definitely didn't end the race in a great position. Has to be said.
You say that though, but Herta could have easily been P5.
Right, yeah. They didn't though. I know, we'll get onto that. But, you know, Pato has shown he's learned, and we were saying this, and it's a nice bridge into the Herta thing. We were just chatting after the race and just seeing, you would think, because Pato is an absolute bundle of energy out of the cockpit, like he is bouncing off the walls, he's so excitable, he speaks really fast because he's always full of energy, and you're just like, wow, this guy goes at 100 miles an hour. But in a car, I can't really think. Most of the time he has failed is if there've been no pace, they've just got it wrong on the weekend and they've had no pace in the car, or it's been a strategy that just hasn't worked out from a good position. We couldn't, off the top of our heads, and people may be able to put it in the comments, think of any driver mistakes that Pato makes actually in the race. He is so consistent. He's so calm and collective in comparison to Colton Herta, who's so cool and collected outside of the cockpit. And there's plenty of rash moments, and Barber was another example of that, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Maybe it's a good time not to just segue straight to Herta, but to segue into the winners and losers.
Oh, yeah.
Do we start off with the first loser?
Let's start off with losers.
With him. Colton Herta. He was making the 3-stop work, even though they kind of got stuffed with the caution when it came out from Callum Ilott. Because I think they wanted to go a few more laps, and then that would have give them more attack mode, basically, in the latter stages. But he was really making it work. In that second stint, he absolutely dropped Joseph Newgarden, who couldn't do anything, whereas Herta was flying forwards to set him up perfectly for the final stint, wasn't it? When he had his little moment trying to send it in on Scott McLaughlin, and just a bit too much of a dive bomb, and ended up spinning. And that was it. 5 for 5th. Going back to 5 for 10th. I think it was 6th, but the pace he had, he would have progressed to 5th or 4th, even.
Yeah. And I think it's so tough because Colton's raw pace, arguably, he could be the quickest guy in the series. But time and time again, it's either strategy or driver errors. And the last couple of races have been driver error for Colton. And he's never going to be able to challenge for the championship against the guys like the Newgardens, the Palos of the world, even Patos of the world with Arrow McLaren SP, because they aren't really there, I don't think, yet as a consistent title challenger. But Pato just keeps outperforming. I would say he's had a little bit of shaky start, but the last 2 races have been a much more positive step forward for Pato. And obviously he's won a race, so that can never be a bad thing. But yeah, Colton's lack of consistency, or like we said, of why Palou is so good, he always nails the key moments. Colton Herta is getting an unfortunate consistency of not nailing the big moments, and it's costing him. And it's really tough to watch because you want to see Colton challenging for wins and podiums consistently. But at the moment, he seems a little bit his own worst enemy. And that's something that he'll learn and he'll grow out of for sure. But yeah, at the moment, you can't even consider him for a championship because you just know that the highs and lows, there's too much of a gap between them.
Yes, there is. Maybe it'll come together. Second half season. Obviously, we're coming up to the double points. That's when the season really kicks off. Have a blinding 500. We're in the championship fight. But yeah, first loser done.
Winners. Now, okay, let's discuss this. So, because obviously in that first kind of general overview, we spoke quite a lot about VK, Palou, and Pato. And I think all 3 in their own rights are winners. But I don't know if we've already spent quite a lot of time on them and we just kind of go, Pato's a winner, obviously, because he won the race. Palou's a winner because he drove a fantastic race, was happy with P2 with how the result was today, and took the lead in the championship lead. And VK got his first podium of the season off the back of a pole position. He'll be frustrated that he didn't win the race, but for Ed Carpenter Racing and VK, that's still a fantastic performance. He didn't look like he was going to finish outside the top 3.
Yeah.
So the first winner, I propose...
There's only one man, right?
Will Power!
Driver of the day, surely.
I think so. 19th to 4th.
I was cheering Power all the way to the checkered flag. But Will Power has got to be driver of the day. 19th to 4th. The guy was holding the record for winning Barber from the furthest back position in 9th. And there was moments that you're like, is he going to do it for 19th? Because he was always in kind of touching distance with the top, especially as the race went on and the pace he held.
I think it would have been so interesting if there had been another couple of cautions.
Yeah.
That had bunched up, because the only problem with Power is he was making such great grounds, but obviously that front pack had basically been running their own race and consistently for the rest of it. And then on obviously the last pit stops, Palou, VK and Pato, and although VK dropped off that group, the front 2, they basically, had run their own race. And Power, it was too much time to kind of make up. 4th was a fantastic achievement. If there had been a late caution, I think we were saying around about with 15 laps to go, with the pace he was showing, a caution came out and then released them with 10 laps to go. Could have been very interesting to see what Power could have done. I think he definitely would have been on the podium for sure.
Such a mega drive. This season, he is just impressing with every weekend. There are no mistakes in the races. It's just clean perfection, really. It's what we've seen in the last couple of seasons. He's kind of lost it and he's just disappeared in races or made a mistake. But this year he's upped his level.
I don't know if there's a realisation with Will that he's not going to be in IndyCar forever. He knows he's getting to that twilight time of his year, but he knows that he's still damn quick. So I don't know if he should. Well, he said in his interview, he says, "I'm just going to enjoy the time that I've got left." And we're like, "Oh, Will, don't go, Will." But he looks a driver who's enjoying his racing this year. In the past couple of seasons, there've been real times we've been frustrated. He's really been kind of pumped up and like, frustration in terms of that. I know he did have a kind of moan at Jimmy Johnson as a backmarker in St. Pete, but as a whole, he's been pretty calm and collective, willpower, throughout. And the lowest position he's finished this year is 4th, which out of, has been the most consistent driver this year.
Bar Alex Palou.
Well, Alex Palou's finished lower than 4th.
But he is also leading the championship winning a race.
Yeah, true. Okay. Within that, argue not the most consistent, because Palou is leading that championship and Palou's been brilliant. But obviously, 3rd, 4th.
Yeah.
He's always there. And if suddenly he goes into the month of May, he's another great one at IMS Road Course. We spoke about VK, but Power obviously is the record win holder there. If he can get a 2nd or a 1st there going into the Indy 500 and have a great Indy 500, are we seriously saying that Will Power could be a championship contender?
It's not. You won't write him off as well, because he's got such a good record at the IMS Road Course. He is a 500 winner. Chevy are looking great, If you're a champ, that's the only thing against Palou is Chevy look like they have the edge this year. So he's in the right car with the right engine.
In the right team, Team Penske, who'd won 3 out of the first 4 races. Chevy have won 4 out of the first 4 races.
It's crazy.
It is.
So I'm loving it as well. I'm just loving watching it.
And his overtake on Scott Dixon was an awesome overtake.
Yeah.
And it was literally the difference between experience, because it happened literally within seconds of each other. Power made the move stick on Dixon, and Herta went for a massive lunge on McLaughlin from way back and spun out and stuffed his race. And, that's the experience from there. Power's been there where Herta has been, and I have no doubt that Herta will improve. But it was a great overtake. So big winner, Will Power. I think we wanted to give a big shout out to him, and that has been a big shout out. Loser, Joseph Newgarden.
Yes, touched on it earlier. He was on a 3-stop with Herta. Herta went flying on his 2nd stint. Newgarden got stuck in quicksand. I don't know what happened to him. He couldn't make any progress. Whether he was trying to be too conservative with the tyres, and then by the time, because he was on the reds or was he on the blacks?
He started on the blacks.
But on that 2nd stint,
on the reds.
Okay. Well, it's just, maybe it was too conservative. By the time he was pushing, the guys on the blacks had already come up to speed. It was mind-boggling just to see him get dropped by Herta and Herta still be on the same strategy.
Yep.
But yeah.
The 3-stop just didn't work for Newgarden. I understand why Penske did it, because they split strategy on all 3 of the drivers. So obviously Power and McLaughlin went long for the 2-stopper, and Newgarden, they tried something different with 3-stop. Sometimes you take a gamble. If the caution had fallen 2 or 3 laps earlier before the... Or later. But earlier, before those guys had pitted, it was the fact that the 2-stoppers had just pitted. If they hadn't pitted, then obviously Newgarden and Herta would have cycled towards the front. And then you're looking at Newgarden potential podium again, and you're going, great stuff for the championship. Wasn't there on the win. It just didn't quite work pace-wise this weekend, but he's managed to minimise the damage by getting on the podium and going off strategy, but he's made it work. But that's the thing. When you go on a 3-stop strategy and you pit more times than your other competitors, you always have to rely on Lady Luck being in your favour. And it wasn't for Newgarden. Lost the lead in the championship. He's still right in there. I think it's 10 points split the top 4 drivers in the championship. But Barber is one of Newgarden's strongest tracks, and for the last couple of seasons, he had that first lap incident, obviously in the season opener last year, where he fluffed it, and obviously, was it P14, 15 in the end that he finished? He was way out of it. So yeah, it was, not a day to remember for Joseph Newgarden.
Yes.
But going into the month of May, can he finally secure his first Indy 500?
Oh, yes, that's the big question.
Looking at how tight the championship is, the 500 being a double points race is going to be so key for this championship, I think.
Yeah, that was another thing from Will Power's interview. It's a DNF there, your season's basically over. 33 car field, possibly. You lose so many points. And if you come in the top 5, you get so many points. So it can put you in the championship fight. It's a real make or break. And yeah, but for Joseph Newgarden, it's kind of that break in the duck. He's such a talented driver with one of the most successful teams at the 500. You kind of feel like he needs to get a 500 win under his belt to be a proper, I know he's got 2 championships with Penske, but to complete the package.
Wrongly or rightly, Joseph Newgarden probably won't ever receive the credit that he deserves as a driver unless he puts a 500 under his belt. Because it is the hallmark of Indycar drivers. Championships are great, but, Scott Dixon is great with his championships, gets the respect he deserves and always does, but he is also a 500 winner. Will Power is a 500 winner. Scott McLaughlin in the future, I can definitely see being a 500 winner. Newgarden hasn't quite nailed it there, but this could be the year that it finally falls into place. But he was a loser in yesterday's race.
Yes. Another winner. Oof.
It's tough. I was going to go controversial on this one.
Okay. Hit me.
Roman Grosjean. I know for what happens, but actually he was a 3-stopper, wasn't he? So he was the highest finish for the 3-stoppers. He finished ahead both his Andretti teammates. He did get that late overtake on Graham Rahal in the end. As Graham
Is this
was
the point we
fuel.
talk about it?
I think
was framing Grosjean as a winner.
he won the fight from TKO knockout.
I can't believe this is how you introduce this bit as Roman Grosjean's the winner. I can see what side you're on.
Graham, I'm sorry. So sorry, Graham.
Yeah, he was the highest finish in Andretti. He made the free stop work. Sure. But that incident, late in the race, there's a train of Scott McLaughlin, Graham Rahal, and Roman Grosjean. Rahal just doesn't quite have the pace. I think he's run out of push to pass to make a lunge on Scott McLaughlin. He's working him on the outside of turn 6. And eventually Roman Grosjean, close enough to Graham Rahal, sends it on the inside. Senses the opportunity because Graham's going on the outside. There is the gap on the inside. Dives on the inside. Doesn't quite have the grip to keep it together. Hits Rahal once.
The first one, just to say, I think the first one, it's still not great because he's overshot the corner.
Yeah.
But you can forgive it IndyCar wheel-to-wheel racing.
Yeah.
I think where the big issue lies in the incident is the second contact. And it doesn't do Grosjean any favours.
It's the fact that the exit in the corner, they're straightening out. Grosjean has the opportunity to straighten out, but then he kind of just goes into it just looks like he goes into the side of rail and then straightens out. If you saw the post-race thing when he was with Rossi, I was like, he did that, and then done, and then I was like, geez.
Oh, the animation of Graham Rahal. We were so excited. We were just the whole post-race. We were like, put a mic in front of Graham Rahal. I want to hear what he's going to say. And he did not disappoint. I think he initially said that he's outstayed his welcome over on race control. I think he was saying that he's got a reputation. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. These are all highlights from the interview. I think Marshall Pruitt did an article with the full transcript of what Graham said post-race. But he also said, it was like, there's going to be situations that if he's not going to get penalised for this, better be the same treatment from race control, because when we start punting him, I've certainly been penalised for a lot less. And we were like, oh! Oh, jeez. I'll take this moment. It may be just a Twitter thing on social media and in the real world outside it, because social media bubble all kind of comes, I feel like, with something, narratives that aren't there kind of get fuel is thrown on the flame, and they're made to be bigger issues than they actually are. But Graham always seems to get a lot of stick. From our experience, obviously people can prove us wrong from there. From our experience of what we've watched of Graham Rahal, he's a very good driver within the series. He definitely has his place on them, but it always seems to be, if Graham's moaning, they go, oh, Daddy's money, where would you be without Daddy's money? I kind of feel like he would be in a better car. And that's not knocking Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, because we were a big kind of, this is going to be the year for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. Well, sorry, Rahal. Letterman, Lanigan, we've kind of stuffed you there big time because it just looks like same old story. But Graham, again, consistently is the best finisher within the team. Consistently fighting with those top guys. He just doesn't have that extra kind of tenth or 2 tenths to be challenging for podiums and race wins. But yeah, I like Graham. I think it was fair what he said about Grosjean. It doesn't look good for Grosjean, but Grosjean is a winner in this in this section of the podcast.
Concludes the final winner, Roman Grosjean.
Well, okay, we've done
accident with.
We've done 2 losers and 2 winners, and I know we've done over that. We usually do 3. So is there another loser that particularly comes to mind?
Oh yeah, we started with a loser, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes, I do have a loser that comes to mind. Unfortunately, to drag this out, Callum Ilott, heartbreak for Hollinger Racing.
Home country boy! I think someone in the comments was like, Ilott's doing well. Maybe he can be the new home country boy. And we will adopt Callum. Callum, you on now? Now that Max has gone, it's taken us time to kind of fill the void. But home country boy, Callum Ilott! Because I don't think he's local to us.
He's getting an award at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
We're going to go around his house.
We will hunt you down, Callum.
But yeah, it was just a slight mistake coming into turn. I always try to draw the track when I'm trying to work out the turns. It's the downhill chicane, and yeah, he just lost it. Fine, Elio Castro Neves, and spun it, beached it, and that was it.
Yeah, took too much speed into corner. Was driving a great race.
His best ever qualifying for the team and him. And it could have been their best ever race result.
And realistically, he could have been in the fast 6, couldn't he? If
because Marcus Ericsson had a little moment off track.
Ericsson!
But yes, yeah. I would put him as a loser just because it was a shame to see the weekend end like that. You could also say another losers for the rookies, because another rookie also had a pretty dreadful afternoon, and that was Cole Kirkwood. When they had a mistake in the pit lane, I think they were struggling to get one of the tyres off, and then that put him a lap down, and then that's your race. And
he was on a 3-stopper as well.
So, yeah.
It just all went wrong. Poor Kyle. His worst race of the season so far, because he's been doing absolutely fantastic. But yeah, kind of out of his control today.
Yeah.
strategy wasn't there, and issue within the pits, which basically ended his race.
Yeah.
So last winner.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say would be the last winner?
Jeez, am I having to come up with all of them around here?
Yeah, you're having to do it all. Well, realistically,
people over here going, who's the winner?
because we ruled out Pato, Polo, and VK because we spoke a lot about it. Essentially, all three of them could be a joint winner. So I guess the only thing we'll debate is Scott McLaughlin a winner?
No.
P6.
He dropped back.
He dropped back, but he defended well.
Like
the one stage he was a podium.
He was third. I'm just looking at the top 10. Of course, Andretti were a winner.
There was a bit on commentary, I think everyone was here, when Rossi came out and he was like, this is exactly the medicine that this driver, this guy, this team needed today. And I was like, hang on a minute. We're not near the end of the race. And he's fourth. This isn't like an incredible... I know Rossi's bad luck has been so bad that a fourth is almost a victory for him at this stage. But he then ended up finishing P8? P9, was it? No, P9, wasn't it? Because Grosjean they were P8, 9, 10, and technically 11 with Simon Pagenaud and Mara Shank Racing with their technical partnership with Andretti Autosport. But I was like, what?
What a fantastic day for Team Andretti.
Yeah.
But actually, someone I do want to talk about, even though it wasn't spectacular and he did lose out, it was Scott Dixon.
I was going to mention
P5. His race results this year have been really solid. He mentioned it in the post-race that the only thing laying Scott Dixon down is the qualifying results. It's just, if he was qualifying, it makes life so much difficult. He's gone out in Q1 at least 2 out of the 4. I want to say probably 3 out of the 4. If he's just qualifying 5 places up, he's then competing for wins. But at the moment, he's just doing a great job putting himself in the top 5.
I think the problem with Scott is, people correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I don't think he's ever been a standout qualifier. On ovals, yes. Like obviously at the Indy 500, he always looks like he's going to be challenging for pole position there. You know, because ovals is Scott Dixon's strength, I would say. That's where he really comes to life. And he's a fantastic street and road course driver who's very consistent. But I don't think he's traditionally ever been standout, consistently quick on those courses for qualifying. He's now got a new generation of young drivers who are pretty damn quick on it as well. Plus, if we're saying that Chevy have the advantage over Honda this year, he's already on the back foot. And IndyCar qualifying is usually always so close in terms of it's only a couple of tenths. It may be a difficult bridge to gap. And in races, I definitely feel that Scott Dixon is still capable of challenging for a record-equaling 7th IndyCar title. But qualifying may just stop him being able to do that.
Yeah, he just needs to literally just 5 places more. But like you said, the field is so close. It's a couple of tenths between like 12 cars. It's not like a couple of tenths between the position up. It's like a position 5 places up. It's just crazy how close the field is. And yeah, like you said, this new young generation coming through. They need to find something. They need to find a way. Because that's the only thing stopping him from challenging for podiums and wins.
They need to get Pelot to qualify for him. Or Ericsson. Ericsson's done a decent job of getting through to the past 12, hasn't he, to be fair?
Yeah. The quality in the racing is still there.
And he's never going to lose it, as you've seen with Will Power as well. But even Will Power, he just had an off qualifying, to be fair. His qualifying as a whole has been there. But, even Will Power, who still mathematically in his career can equal and even surpass Mario Andretti's record of 67 pole positions of all time in the series. All right. He is the only guy who's realistically got close to that, I believe. Even he is struggling to regularly compete for pole position. The closest he was St. Pete. Yeah. Well, obviously McLaughlin got that pole position. But, it's really tough for the experienced guys because it's something that you just lose at some point, that extra couple of tenths in qualifying, and you've got all the racecraft in the world, which IndyCar allows you to kind of keep going. But if you're starting so far back, like you said, it makes it so much difficult, and you have to take riskier strategies, which Newgarden did as he started slightly further back yesterday. And sometimes because you take the riskier strategy, they're less likely to come off more consistently.
Yes, there we go. Scott Dixon, final winner.
Yeah. But overall, great race.
Yeah.
Great race again. It's a great way to start the month of May, and I believe it's only going to get better. I feel like the IMS road course next week could be a great race. And then obviously the Indy 500 is always the pinnacle of the IndyCar season calendar. And we're in the month of May. It's here. It's almost here. It's, I don't know, like now the kind of pandemonium, the excitement for that race is really going to grow. And I think we're going to have an absolutely incredible race this year. I feel like the young guys have got even more experience to challenge. Newgarden's going to be hungrier than ever as part of that middle crop. Rossi, although he's had a great performance at Barber, from there, with Alexander Rossi, he will always compete the 500s because he's so good there. And then the experienced guys, the Paginos, the Castro Neveses, the Dixons, the Powers. There are so many people who can compete for that race win. And I think genuinely the capable winners is probably a handful of that 8 or 9 drivers. And that's incredible for the 500.
Yeah.
We'll know more, obviously, as we progress through the month of May. So I guess a last little quick shout out to Fantasy. So, Stephen, still while I get Fantasy up.
How great were you? This section is purely here to go, look at me. I'm so great at predicting podiums. I'm the best. Everyone else sucks. Watch me do well at Fantasy section. That's the new name for this section. The title's a bit long. Maybe we'll shorten it a bit, but that's basically the title. Come on then, let's hear it.
We were actually very close.
Were we?
You had 154.5 and I had 163.75. But that wasn't enough to get me onto the podium at Barber because Motor City Mum, 179.5. Great winning in there. And I believe we'll look at the overall league as well. I think he might be even leading the championship. Rosenqvist, 169.5. So I was just about 6 out from there. Tough. And Winnie Indy had 172.75. Let's see who was in the top one. So top one, no surprise, had Pato, VK, Rosenqvist, which was the big flop, and Alexander Rossi. And predicted the podium as well. So Pato, Polo, VK. Look at that. That was where the real points kind of came in. Winnie Indy, the second in the race. Pato, Eilert. Eilert would have been absolutely fantastic there. Probably would have come in first if it wasn't for that Eilert mistake in the race. So they would be gutted there for not only Callum, because he was having a great weekend, but also for your fancy, because that's where it matters. But Herta, 24.5 was still a decent return, despite, obviously, go from there.
How many people are
correctly predicting the podium? Whoa! And then Leo Rosenqvist, Pato, VK, Rosenqvist, Rossi, same as there, but didn't predict the third place. podium sitter had Herta to come in P3 as opposed to Rinus VK, and that was the difference from there. And we'll shout out my team because I was fourth. I had Polo VK, so I already lost that by not having Pato in there. Rosenqvist lost me and Christian Lundgaard. So, those last two picks were there, but my redeeming factor was that I correctly predicted the podium of Pato, Polo, and VK. And if you can do that, that is an extra...
Pato Pyro.
Pyro.
I didn't see him coming in P2.
No. But all the races, we have Motor City Mum is in a storming lead at the moment, 595. I'm over 100 points behind. Incredible from Motor City Mum. Winnie Indy is second with 501.5, but still 93.5 points behind. And the HMD Dream, I'm presuming that's a Malukas fan there, 499.75. How did they do this weekend? I presume not a great weekend from there, but the Fancy League is super competitive this year, and I'm glad to see, Motor City Mum extend that early lead, but it could all change with double points at the 500, and all it takes is a couple of good rounds and you can start to eat into that lead, maybe potentially there. We've taken up enough of your time. That is enough for our Barber review. Like we said, we'll be back for a preview of the IMS road course coming out on Wednesday. We'll record that tomorrow night to try and get up to date. Let the dust settle on Barber, shall we say, or see if Graham Rahal has gone to fight Roman Grosjean or not. That would be fun. But yes, thank you for watching. Make sure that you go and follow and subscribe to our sponsors, the American Monoposto Championship, and check out their racing league. Plenty of exciting and fun action there based on the kind of late 90s kart cars, which look awesome from there. But if you're new around here and haven't done so already, what can they do, Stephen?
They can like, subscribe, and ding that bell.
Ding it! So for now, you Indy fans, keep racing!